Picture a wild horse. Majestic, right? Mane blowing in the wind, galloping effortlessly, completely carefree. Well, I hate to break it to you, but that image is a total lie. Welcome to this explainer. Today we are completely shattering the romanticized myth of the wild horse in the American West. We're going to put you right in their hooves to show you why that beautiful picture of so-called wild freedom is actually a violent, exhausting, and lifelong battle for survival.
Look, from the exact second you hit the dirt out there, your freedom comes with a brutal price tag. Mother Nature absolutely does not care about your majesty or your grace. We're talking extreme weather, relentless predators watching your every single move, a gnawing hunger that literally never goes away, and just constant, violent competition. You don't just get to exist peacefully. Out here, freedom bleeds. You are fighting tooth and nail for every single breath you take.
Act 1. Born into the danger zone.
So, we start at the very beginning, and it is incredibly fragile. You're dropped right onto the hard, dusty ground, and survival basically means figuring out how to move before something decides you look like an easy snack. In minutes, you've got to stand up on these wobbly, spaghetti-like legs, just face-planting over and over. Within hours, you're desperately trying to match your mom's pace, and by 4 short months old, childhood is completely over. Imagine trying to chew some tough, dry grass, and suddenly you lock eyes with a wolf, watching your dad step right between you and certain death. That is a wildly compressed timeline. Wobbly legs to staring down predators in just weeks. And then winter hits. The air gets this bone-chilling bite and your whole world freezes over. That soft, fluffy full fur you've got, it is absolutely no match for the cold. So the herd has to squeeze you right into the middle of a tight huddle just to keep you from freezing to death overnight. You're standing there, shivering, watching the older horses desperately scrape their hooves through solid ice, just hoping to uncover a few dead blades of grass. It's freezing, you're starving, and man, this nightmare is really just getting started.
Which brings us to Act 2, Exiled to the Bachelor Gang.
Now, here's a totally brutal twist for your teenage years. Suddenly, your biggest threat is your own protector. At just 2 years old, after you've survived the wolves and the freezing ice, the lead stallion, who is actually your dad, decides he's officially had enough of you. He is not going to tolerate any ambitious young colts hanging around his mares. The shoving and kicking turns into a daily reality. So you're left with a stark choice: try to fight him and probably die, or hit the road and try to survive the mountains completely alone. So you walk away. The young females get to stay, and you are cast out into the wild.
Eventually, you're wandering alone, dodging mountain lions, begging for scraps of food, and you stumble across some other outcast teenagers. You form what's called a bachelor gang. But hey, this isn't some friendly club. It is a strict, violent hierarchy built completely on brute strength. To climb the ranks in this new pecking order, you literally have to follow a bloody set of steps. You've got to challenge the horse above you over and over. You take crushing kicks to the ribs until you're big enough and mean enough to hold your own. You are quite literally bleeding your way to the top.
Because the ultimate goal here is to win your own herd. And to steal mares from an older stallion, you've got to dive into these grueling, chaotic 5-minute brawls. We're talking crushing hooves and deep bites with blunt teeth, and you are going to lose. A lot. You'll limp back to your gang covered in purple bruises and deep scrapes time and time again. But out here, it's a game of attempts and setbacks, and each scar just toughens you up. Every single beating sharpens your instincts for the next round.
Then, around age 5, you finally hit your absolute physical peak. You're a massive, hardened warrior now, totally sculpted by years of brawling. You track down an older stallion who looks just a little bit tired from years of defending his own family, and you make your move. Your gang watches from the dust, and you defeat him. You claim his mares. You leave that bachelor life in the dust for good. You've made it. You are the king now. But heavy is the head that wears the crown. Act 3, the heavy crown of leadership.
So you think you've won the ultimate prize, right? You're the lead stallion. But this climax of your life is actually the start of an exhausting, paranoid nightmare. The expectation is glory, resting in the sun while your herd grazes peacefully. But the reality, it is a non-stop, agonizing cycle. You are the sole protector now. You have to find the scarce food. You're basically a 4-legged alarm system, which means you will literally never sleep deeply ever again.
Just look at what you're up against every single day. Relentless opponents, mangy wolves probing the edges of the herd for a wandering foal, mountain lions stalking silently from the cliffs, and those ambitious young bachelor stallions, they are shadowing your every move, desperate to do to you exactly what you did to the last guy. Toss in gnawing hunger and biting winter cold, and it's just exhausting. You are relying entirely on those violent skills you learned as a juvenile just to buy your family a moment's peace.
Your absolute prime years are spent just taking the hits for everyone else. Your mares give birth, they raise the young, and they watch while you throw down in bloody fights to keep them alive. Protecting, finding food, guiding, and fighting. Lots of fighting. And you want to know the cruelest irony? Your only real break from this violence is during the dead of winter. Why? Because the young challengers are simply too cold and weak to fight you. Your one vacation is when the environment itself is actively trying to starve you to death.
Act 4. The brutal price of freedom.
Eventually, the endless gauntlet of the American West catches up to you. You can't outrun time, and you definitely can't outfight it. After years of taking the hits and shielding your herd from every conceivable danger, you've got to ask yourself a truly terrifying question. When your muscle fades and your bones ache, who protects the protector? Well, the tragic answer is absolutely no one.
By the time you hit age 12, you've fought more battles than you can even remember. You know every inch of the plains. But your body is failing. Your muscles ache deeply. Your reactions are sluggish. And nature doesn't care that you've earned a break. A young, energetic stallion, brimming with that exact same ambition you had at age 5, steps up. And this time, the showdown is heartbreakingly quick. You just don't have it in you anymore. You're defeated.
And here is the absolute most brutal reality of the wild. In a split second, the herd you bled for, the family you took countless vicious hits for over 7 long years, they just walk away with the new victor. There's zero loyalty in survival, there's no gratitude in nature. They follow the strongest horse, and they leave you behind in the dust without so much as a second glance.
So, for the first time since you were a teenage outcast, you are truly alone. But you aren't young and resilient anymore. You are battered, broken, and old. Winter is setting in again. You're pushing your aching body through freezing winds, desperately searching for anything green under the snow. You find a cold, rocky cliff for shelter, remembering how you used to huddle right here with your mom as a foal to stay warm. But now, no herd. You have absolutely no one to lean on.
And as your body finally starts to give out, shivering against those jagged rocks, you see movement. An old, mangy wolf, maybe the exact same one you bravely fought off years ago to protect your foals, steps out of the shadows. And he's brought his entire pack with them. They know you're alone. They smell weakness. Nature is finally here to collect its terrifying, inevitable toll. It's dinner time.
As we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a haunting thought. We love to romanticize the wild. We paint it, we dream about it. But the next time you picture a beautiful wild horse running free, ask yourself what that freedom actually costs, from a violent birth to an agonizing, solitary end. The price of that majestic freedom is paid in blood, absolute exhaustion, and profound loneliness. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive. Stay curious, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.